Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guests today are from Stand Up for Animals, located in Westerly. First time on the show for Tammy Laughlin, Executive Director. Also, you know, Stand Up for Animals, and it's also the shelter. So we're going to get into that duality. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So to clear up any confusion, explain that. There's the shelter, and then Stand Up for Animals, which is the sort of the charity aspect of it, right?
Right. Westerly Animal Shelter was built by Stand Up for Animals. There's a new building. It's now 5 years old, and they raised the funds and got that going. And we've got a great facility now that was built, and we run our municipal shelter out of there. Stand Up for Animals also has an office in that building as well, and they contribute, you know, a lot of things to our shelter, such as surgical equipment and you know, medicines, etc. Things like that. And there, you'll hear later in the segment from Jason, who will talk about the fundraising items and things that we do with them as well.
So Stand Up for Animals is an organization that isn't just strictly connected to the Westerly Animal Shelter. They are elsewhere too?
Well, Stand Up for Animals primarily works with the Westerly Animal Shelter.
And you're employed by?
I'm employed by the town of Westerly,
okay,
and by Stand Up for Animals.
Okay, all right. So so that's where the dual role comes in. Hey, but you know what? It works. It got a new shelter built in Westerly, right?
That is true.
And that is something that I guess has been needed for a while.
It was a very small shelter before, very, very small, and now we can hold up to 120 animals.
Wow, that's great. How'd you get involved, by the way?
I saw an ad in the paper for a manager, a shelter manager, and I was a volunteer there at the time.
Oh.
And so it seemed like it was a good, you know, a good fit and a good idea. And I went in and I interviewed with the chief of police, and at the time the chief officer and the town manager, and which is daunting, by the way.
Yeah, you report to the bigwigs, don't you?
Well, I guess so. But anyway, I met with them and talked about what I saw at the shelter as a volunteer and what I thought I could bring in organization to the shelter, you know, as a manager. And they offered me the position. Well,
congratulations. You sound like you're the perfect job. How come you didn't get offered it right away? You were a volunteer there. You had to find out about it, and you said, this was made for me. I'm already here. I'm already doing this, right?
This is a new role.
Okay.
Well, I've been there now almost 4 years in the role, but they had never had a shelter manager before. They had an animal control officer,
yeah.
And it was a much smaller facility. And now, you know, once they got to the larger facility, they decided that they needed some extra assistance.
How has it changed over the years? You said you've been there 4 years now. I'm sure it's evolved a little bit from when it started to where it is now, based on needs, right?
Based on needs, based on the economy, based on changes within our community. I mean, you've seen a change in anything from people who have to leave their homes and they can't take their pets with them, or we help people too when there's a natural disaster. We're one of 4 premier shelters in Rhode Island now. We worked very hard to get that distinction. And so if there's any natural disasters, if there are any emergencies like the hurricanes, etc., the last blizzard, if we had lost power in town, we would have been available, you know, to help people and have a safe place for their pets to come and see us.
Well, since you mentioned it, and we are, as we tape this is just a miserable winter we're having now.
Yes, it is.
Ridiculous amounts of snow. Has that affected your ability to do things in a negative way or positive way? Yeah, doubtful.
It just makes it so, like we had spoken briefly earlier, we've spent some nights there to make sure that that it's not too cold.
You sleep
for
over
our animals.
then, right?
Once in a while I have a sleepover. It's kind of like a night at the museum, or a night at the shelter.
Does that mean it comes to life? Comes to life?
You'd be amazed.
Yeah,
I always kind of wondered what happened whenever we weren't there. Now we know. But it's nice to be able to have such a nice facility. It's got its own generator, so we're never going to lose power.
Great.
So our animals are always taken care of, and that's why part of the reason we're part of one of those premier shelters.
Yeah.
Because we have that capability. If you lose power and you're worried about your animals and you have to go to a people shelter, it's nice and comforting to know that there's an animal shelter too where you can keep your pets.
You know, in our neck of the woods in Connecticut, the New London, Waterford / East Lyme, their pipes froze. And so they had to transport all their animals over to the next town over in New London, just temporarily at the very least. But that's a big deal.
It is.
You know?
It is.
But you guys have generators. Yeah.
We do.
Now, it's not a requirement or a prerequisite, but you kind of have to be an animal lover to do this job. Both you and Jason, who will meet in the second segment. But and that's great. But on the flip side, do you have to kind of force yourself not to allow to get attached to all the animals here? The goal is for them to get adopted and find forever homes. So how do you tug with your emotions?
It's an emotional roller coaster.
It is.
Every day, every day. If I could, I guess the best way to explain it is it's a roller coaster, because you have that excitement of, oh, one's gone home, and this dog or this cat are long timers, and you know, our goal, of course, is to get them in the right home,
right?
To not just a home, the right home for them, and so it is and then you may send one home and you're all excited, and then 10 minutes later somebody comes in and they have to surrender their pet, and so then you have to switch gears, and you know, you're sympathetic and empathetic to them and their plight and what they're going through, and trying to help them make that transition as easy as it is, you know, can be for them. And so the best way to describe it is it's an emotional roller coaster every day. And so being in my role, I try not to get too overly attached, which is not always successful.
No, if you're a normal human being that ends up loving animals, how can you not, you know?
It is. It's very hard. And there are many days where, you know, my commute home is, you know, in tears, whether it's happy or sad. So based on some things that have happened throughout the day.
What's your house, your personal home like, as far as there are animals in there too?
I have a chocolate lab. He's a senior boy named Max. He's 12.
Is he a rescue?
No, he was not a rescue,
okay.
But I'm sure that the next one will be a rescue. My kids are gone now, and
okay.
So they're, you know, they were always like, oh, you can't bring any home, can't bring, and so, you know, not for lack of trying.
Well, the lab, this is his domain at the moment, so
it is,
you know.
and he's older. So
one important thing you mentioned a minute ago is finding the right home. So key.
Yes.
So my question to you is, what's the sort of the vetting process when someone? It's not just a matter of someone coming in and says, okay, I'll take that one. It just doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. When you come in, you know, we ask you to spend some time with that animal, and we'll do that with one of our volunteer staff as well. And I meet everybody who comes in to adopt before they go home. We have a series of questions that we ask everyone who comes in, whether they have other pets or not, because we want to make sure that they have that care in place. And we also want to make sure that they have current vaccinations for their animals, you know, that they're taking care of the pets they already have before they add to their family. Another big question is whether you rent or you own your home. And it's not an invasion of privacy. It's
no, but it's
renting.
important, right?
It's very important, because renting, you have to have that lease that says you can have pets.
Right.
We don't want you to take home, you know, little Fluffy here and then come back because the landlord found out you had a pet.
Yeah.
It's not good for the pet. It's not good for them or us or anyone involved. And so we have a series of questions that we'll ask.
A person could end up getting kicked out because of that too. You don't want that. You know?
Absolutely.
But again, like you said, you don't want to disrupt the pet's life by bringing them and sort of getting them. They start to get a little accustomed, then they have to go back. You know, something like that. That's terrible. So yeah, so you make sure that they fulfill certain requirements based on the pet and the person. Do you also kind of do you do the eye test when somebody comes in and sort of see if there's chemistry between the human and the pet, or sort of a bonding? Like if you can kind of spot that, you go, hey, maybe this could work out.
We do. And sometimes people come in, believe it or not, looking at one they've seen on petfinder.com that is one of ours, and they come in and they say, oh, I want to see maybe Sophie or Eve or whoever we have. And we say, and we look at them and we go, well, wait a minute, how about this one? And it ends up being the right pet for them. And so sometimes they come in looking for one particular animal and they go home with another.
That's why it's so important to come in, right?
It
you
is,
have to
absolutely.
Get that physical touch and that being
we
in the
do,
same
and we
place.
get a feel for them and they get a feel for us, and it works out very well that way.
You do any fostering programs over at your place?
We don't have a foster program at the moment. We do work with a rescue group called Paws New England, and their dogs will come in, and we are their quarantine facility, and our vet will see them before they go to their adopters, and occasionally we'll adopt some pets out for them, and or from them, I should say. But we do not have a official foster program.
How about the volunteer situation at your place? Do you have? You're probably always looking for volunteers, right?
We are always looking for volunteers. We could not survive without our volunteer staff. We literally count on them for over 10,000 hours a year.
Wow. What kind of things do they do?
Priceless. The cleaning, they do anything from walking the dogs. They do the cleaning. They do laundry, dishes.
Do pets have laundry that
Grooming,
needs to be done?
they do every
Yeah.
day. Every one of our pets has either a blanket, a towel, something for them every day.
Wow.
And it's changed every day. Our facility is completely cleaned every single day.
So good hygiene going on in there too.
Every single
So
day.
there are people who come in just to walk the dogs. And how about something just like to spend time with the dogs? Is that something that's
do.
important? Yeah.
It's very important,
Yeah.
and we work with a lot of community outreach groups for that too. They may not be able to physically or mentally do some of the physical things, but they can come in and spend some time with some animals. And we've got some great stories where we've worked with some groups where one in particular, we had a nice young lady who had a very strong problem with stuttering, but she could talk to the animals without stuttering
Is it because
at
she was
all.
kind of baby talking them a little
And
bit? Or?
no, she just physically in her day-to-day life, she really had a strong issue with stuttering.
Wow.
And so she came in and she spent time, and I don't think there was a dry eye while she was there
No
because
kidding, yeah.
she just could talk to them fluently like you and I are talking. So it was great. So it makes a difference in so many ways.
Does she just come in on a regular basis, or was she there to adopt somebody?
She was there as part of a community program.
Okay, I got you. I got you. What is going on? You know, we talked about the weather. Does that affect the ability of people coming in? What's the adoption rate like? Are you doing okay? I know you have room for 120
We do.
or so, but how is the adoption rate going?
Right now, it's going very well. We have very low numbers in cats and dogs.
That's a very good thing,
It's
right?
the calm before the spring storm.
Is that
you know.
really what's going to happen?
Absolutely.
Really?
It happens every year. We start, and I can give you an example for like last summer in the July-August time frame, we had over 80 animals come in just in that short amount of time.
Wow.
And so we do, in the last 5 years, we've had over 2,500 animals come through the shelter. And so, but it has its peaks and valleys on when
Yeah.
they come. Kitten season is in the spring and the fall. So, you know, every spring you
Right.
can jump by 20 to 30 in a week based on how many moms and kittens come in.
Now, is it true that obviously the puppies and the kittens have a tendency to get adopted quicker than, like, say, an older dog or cat? Is that just how it is?
It is sometimes, and it's amazing that sometimes you think, I mean, we get some calls for kittens every week, or puppies. Do you have puppies? Do you have kitties? But people come in, especially when it's not kitten season, and we see a lot of the older cats go home, or people who've had kittens before will come back in and go, this time I want a cat. I don't want a kitten, I want a cat.
When they
Because
see
they
it, when
know.
you're up all night,
Exactly.
climbing up curtains,
Exactly.
and, you know what I mean?
They know. And
Yeah.
so they come in and they know. And a lot of people come in wanting one thing, as I said before, and end up taking, maybe they come in wanting one and they come home, oh, I just love these two, and they take two. And
Are there situations where you might not want to break up a pair just because they've bonded,
Yes.
and so they have to be adopted together?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will say these are highly bonded, you know, please take them. And what I do usually for that is if, you know, the adoption fee, I'll do like a half price for the second one.
Okay, yeah, just
so
so-
they can
'cause
stay together
financially.
because financially it makes sense and they're bonded, so let's keep them together and it just helps everybody.
When they
that
do
way.
get adopted, is there usually some kind of arrangement where they can be spayed or neutered, assuming that they're old enough? How does that work?
Every animal
shots and
that
stuff like
leaves
that?
our shelter
Okay.
has been spayed or neutered. All their shots are done, complete, and the rabies vaccinations. Everything is completely finished before they're adopted.
Excellent. Now, what would you tell somebody if they're thinking about adopting? What should they do? What shouldn't they do? If they're just thinking about it, what's the right approach to take?
I think the right approach to take is to take your time. We live in the world of instant gratification.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with an animal, a pet, you're going to bring home, let's make sure that we're getting the right cat or dog or rabbit or whatever it is that you're looking for the right one for you and the right one for the pet.
Right.
Let's get the right family. Let's make that match
You don't
work.
want it to have to come back,
No,
you know?
no, it's hard on everybody, animals and people, when that happens. So we try to do our best to say to people, take your time, make a decision. You know, it's not an instant thing where you just walk in and say, yep, I decided this morning when I woke up I want a cat
Right.
or a dog.
Your
So,
pet should become a member of the family, just like
Absolutely.
anybody else. You want to give the website out for people to go and learn more?
yes, you can go to standupforanimals.com. You can go to westerlyanimalshelter.com. You can contact me, 401-584-7941, and or you can contact 348-9595 for Stand Up for Animals.
Is it .com or .org?
It's .org. I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's,
just what I happen
yes,
to see it on
is.
my notes here. So
Yes, I'm
all right,
sorry.
Tammy Laughlin, Executive Director. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. We learned a lot today.
All right, thank you.
We will take a short break and come right back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. This segment, Jason Roslin. He's Public Relations Chairman for Stand Up for Animals. Also, first time on the show, so welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
A good way to start is, Tammy told us about the shelter, but you tell us a little bit about Stand Up for Animals, because that's your forte.
Sure. Thank you for asking. First off, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We were incorporated in 2002. And one of the first things that we did as an organization was we raised $2.8 million in private funds to help build the shelter that Tammy was talking about.
Wow. How was that managed? What did you do? I mean, knock on doors, hold up signs,
Yeah, great question. I would say everything that you would think about to fundraise, we did encompassed all of that. We had some great events as well that I'll go into in a bit that helped that as well.
Fundraising events.
Yep.
Now, did Stand Up for Animals just look at the situation at the shelter in Westerly and say we need upgrades? Is that basically how it went?
Yeah, exactly. So Tammy mentioned that it was a very small shelter,
Yeah.
and it was very underutilized. So we
Too small for the town that it served?
exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And Westerly is not just Westerly. We have so many towns surrounding
Right.
it, both in Rhode Island and Connecticut.
Right, because of because it's on the border, so you're
Yep.
going to get Connecticut people in there too.
Right on the border.
Yep.
So exactly. So we looked at it as a great opportunity to really start a good thing and start a thing that would be useful for the towns surrounding, not just Westerly.
Right, and here it is now. It's got a capacity of like 120 something.
120
Yeah.
animals at a time. We've had 2,500 animals come through in the last 5 years. So it's really doing everything that our mission set out to.
So I mentioned your title as Public Relations Chairman. Of course, that's one of the things you do come on TV, but you also do a lot of fundraising, obviously, too.
Absolutely, yes. So fundraising is one of the things that I work on a lot with, putting together programs and events that are not just your typical ones that try to tailor the dogs into, and even some of our fundraising events that we have will try and tailor our animals into it to just tie it back to home.
And your events are designed to locally for your service area, so to speak, right?
That's correct. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
And just a wide, I know we'll talk about the events, but just a sort of an example of wide range of things that you'll put together just for the sake of not only raising funds, but at the very least raising awareness, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So the first thing, we have obedience classes that we'll teach right at the shelter. The shelter has a wonderful area to be able to do these classes in.
This is for the animals, not the humans, right?
Yes, yes. It could be for either,
Yeah.
given the situation, but these are for the animals, exactly.
There's plenty of humans that could use it. But
Yes, definitely. We also have a summer camp this year for kids, for the kids to come in and learn about what the shelter does, the volunteers, what they do there.
Oh, good.
And what animals, what we do for the animals there. So that's one thing we're looking forward to.
Oh, that's great. A summer camp where you're just not going off to the woods and carving things and taking canoe rides. You can go to an animal shelter because kids love animals anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Dogs and cats and then rabbits and everything else you have there.
Exactly. Yep. We do have a wide range, not just cats and dogs in the shelter.
A lot of places will try to emphasize that. We talk a lot about dogs and cats, but we have a ferret here or a rabbit or a bird or something,
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And we do. We have some rabbits and birds in there right now, so it's a great place for the kids to come and learn, and we're doing that with a partnership through the YMCA. So it's really a wonderful thing that we're instituting for this year.
Another organization that likes to get involved in the community, and kind of get the
Absolutely.
word out too. So that's for the kids. What else?
Yep. So other things that we have our Bowl-a-thon that's actually coming up at the end of March, where it's great. It's a great event that we have. That it's just basically you come in and you have a team of 6, and it's all for the animals. And it's a lot of fun. And then we also have our golf tournament at the end in fall. That will have specific holes are named after former pets.
Are these all your ideas that you come up with? Or
No, not
you
just
steal them from yeah.
not just my ideas.
Okay.
We've stolen a few
Right.
from other organizations, and also we work a lot in house with coming up with new ideas. We also have a educational program through the schools where we bring in a trained professional to talk to the kids about animal care. So that's just another community outreach thing that we do.
These are all great things because it's one thing to get the right pet for the right home, okay? But then once they get in there, you know, maybe they, you know, there could be some things where they could be a better parent to the pet, you know, by knowing the right things to do, the training that you talked about, all things that go extend beyond their time after they get adopted, right?
Exactly. You know, being a dog owner myself, I know the responsibility that it entails, and to be able to teach these kids some of these same responsibilities, it's important.
One of the things that just enrages me, and I'm sure you guys and a lot of people, is just the arbitrary surrender. And I don't mean for good reasons if it's necessary, but just someone who decides that they just don't want it anymore. I mean, you wouldn't do that to a child, and if a pet is a part of the family, how can you justify doing that to an animal? Don't you love the animal?
Yeah, I mean, that's you know, one of the things why I joined the organization myself is because you know, when I brought my dog in, he was part of my family. There was no chance that I'd be able to give him up in any way. So I'm just being able to help these animals that do come in that have to be surrendered for whatever the reasons may be. Just being able to help them is extremely gratifying for me.
I asked Tammy this question. I'll ask you: how do you do your job and not allow yourself to get attached to the point where
you want to take every dog home?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
or cat too. It's tough. It's tough for me. You know, I've been with the organizations for 3 years now, and at first it was extremely tough. I wanted to come
that
home.
that one.
Yeah, I wanted to come home. I wanted to take them all. I wanted to take them all home, and so there's a time process that you know, Tammy helps with, and the other individuals that work for our organization really go over with you know, everybody that comes in, of understanding there has to be a right fit for every animal, and that you can't help every single one and take every single one home.
But you can have some happiness in knowing that that animal could be going to its forever home and
Absolutely.
you know, living happily ever after. At least you hope that's what happens.
Yeah,
right?
there's no better feeling. One of the things that I've instituted since I've come in is a Pet of the Month that we advertise through Facebook, our Facebook, and through our website, that just gets the information out about the animals, and to see those animals go home, it's very gratifying for me, or any animal. It's when I come in to our board meeting, you know, every second Tuesday of the month, and they tell us what animals have been adopted, it lights up my face.
So before Stand Up for Animals came in, you know, it was just a municipal shelter, too small really for the town.
Yep.
You've got it extended. Something else the town doesn't have yet is a dog park, and that's something that you're working on too.
Yes, absolutely. That's one thing that we've been working on now for a few years. It was first supposed to be built in 2013. Obviously, with Hurricane Sandy, things got pushed back. I mean, we certainly understand that, but we have put up some of our own funds that we have fundraised for, quite a significant amount, to really get this dog park. And just so everybody knows, the dog park location is right across the street from our shelter. So it's, once we see that as built, we consider ourselves having really a campus now to be able to.
What's the land there now? What's on it?
Yeah, the land there now it's nothing. It's just a grass
space,
plot. Yeah, just a grass plot that you know, it's a nice piece of land that we hope to consider our campus one day.
Nice, very nice. Now, so how far along in the process are you with that?
Yeah, great question. So about 2 years ago, we did some remediation that we worked with a local engineering company. We've put up just about over $200,000 to have it remediated to DEM specifications, and now the bids have gone out for the work to be done, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of fencing that has to be put up. Because the beautiful thing about this dog park is that it's not just going to be for town residents. It's going to also be for the shelter animals as well. There's going to be a separate portion.
Oh, okay.
So we're really happy about that, because I know that the overall mindset of these animals in the shelter are going to get to go out and now have a space to run and really enjoy.
Right. That improves spirits.
Spirits, exactly.
You know, instead of being stuck and just waiting for a walk to occur and then kind of going back in the.
Back in the cage, yep, exactly.
Yeah. So when can we look forward to maybe getting some news on that?
Well, great question. The bids were submitted on Friday, and they're supposed to unveil them today at the town council meeting in Westerly.
So by the time this show airs, there'll be some news about it. So
yes, absolutely. And we there was just an article posted in the Westerly Sun about everything that has gone on. So if you go to our Facebook page, we have a link to that actual article.
Which you can just go through the Stand Up for Animals website, right? And then there'll be social media links, right?
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, let's take one more break and then come right back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay right there. So that is our show for today. We want to thank Tammy and also Jason Roslin for coming on, Public Relations Chairman for Stand Up for Animals. What's their website, by the way?
Yes, thank you. It is standupforanimals.org. All one word, type it in, standupforanimals.org.
What's on the website for people to go see?
Yeah, on the website, you're going to go see links to our social media. You're also going to see our upcoming fundraising events, which the next one is March 7th. It's the Book and Bake Sale from 8 to 1 at the shelter. So you're going to see all those events that we have upcoming. Also, like I said, plus links to our Facebook page, a little about us and our mission.
And that upcoming event, if it's already passed when you're watching the show, there are plenty of other events coming up throughout the year. You can also see this show and many others on our YouTube site, so go check that out. Thanks for being on the show. Very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
And thanks for joining us for another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. We will see you next time. Take care.